Let's go back to a simpler time. A pre-Elmo time. Jamie?
Yeah.
Let's go watch Follow That Bird. Everybody, welcome to another episode of Good Times, Great Movies. We're an 80s movie podcast where every 2 weeks we watch a different movie from the 80s and then we talk about it. I'm one of your two hosts. My name's Doug McCambridge, and with me, as always, 8+ minutes in, our patrons really got a lot of content today, is Jamie Lorello.
Wearing my orange socks.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah,
oh, because Big Bird's legs are orange. For a second, I was like, that's an odd detail.
I just wanted them to know.
Maybe our listeners
wearing
are
my
interested.
orange socks and my blue underpants. Just wanted you to know.
Okay. Excellent. This is our new podcast. It's called What We're Wearing Now.
Welcome.
So anyway, we are here to talk about a children's...
And I didn't pick it for my birthday. Let's just say that. No. Okay.
No, I think this skews a little too young for your choices. You know, this wasn't in the Jamie wheelhouse of 1985.
No.
I don't think you were watching Natty Gann and then putting this on afterwards.
No, but having seen it now and surprisingly, not seeing it as a child. I did not.
No, I don't think I did either. There were parts when they made him blue. I was like, this seems familiar, but I'm not sure. Maybe that was a dream I had.
How sad when they made him blue. I was so sad. And when he cried his blue tear, oh my God.
When they put a drop of Windex on this puppet's face. That was awesome.
Oh man.
Boy. So first of all, before we get into the movie, I think it's important to say that if you are listening to this in real time, it's the start in real time. If you're listening to this, if you've somehow patched in while we're recording, you know what the weather is like in Tennessee. If you're listening to this when it comes out, it's early April. And over on Patreon, if you're interested, there's a little episode about a man possibly named Harry Crumb. But who's Harry Crumb?
Who is that? Really? It's elusive, really.
Is he a motorcycle cop in his spare time? Possibly.
Right.
When he pulled that kid out of that sidecar, it's like,
when he pulled him up and lifted him to look inside the... Yeah, I know. But as soon as he stepped out, too, I was like, oh, that's the sweet image of a John Candy, of a JC. I knew
the
it.
Sweet behind
the sweet
of
silhouette,
John Candy,
yes, correct.
That I know so well.
That's right.
After watching Who's Harry Crumb. But that is our new patrons-only episode over there.
You lucky little patrons, too. That's a fun one, yeah.
If you're interested, go over, check it out. I think we're up to 20 regular bonus episodes, but then we have other things. We have our Handshake 5. We have our question and answer thing.
There's a lot of fun content. Lots of fun content. Lots of good ways to spend your time.
Yeah, that's important. If you are shut in, if you cannot leave your home and you're looking for content to while away the hours,
I
guess, so you don't have to interact with your family, possibly.
Or maybe so you have more funny things to interact with your family about.
Right. Yeah.
You can tell them how funny the last episode that you listened to was.
Yep. Yeah. You can, I would say, get a divorce because of this, if that's all you talk about. You know, you talk to your spouse and you're like, listen to what they had to say about Arnold's trunks in Commando. Or maybe that would save your marriage. Not sure.
Hey, who are we to judge?
Yeah, but and we're trying, or I'm trying to maybe just try and figure out some other content. I think we're gonna do We're going to do another Handshake 5.
Of 90s movies,
Of
right?
90s movies.
Yes. I don't always know what we're doing, but sometimes I do.
It's okay. And also, for those of you, speaking of new content or more content, those of you that subscribe to the podcast notice that a different podcast slipped in last week. And that's a podcast that I do with my wife about Schitt's Creek.
So fun.
So if you thought that someone hacked into our podcast stream, I guess, and put it in and you deleted it immediately, go ahead and listen to it, subscribe. It comes out the opposite weeks that we do our podcast. So if you want to hear me every week
it's so fun.
and still listen to Jamie every other week, go find that podcast.
And then you get the breath of fresh air, which is Carla, and it's a really great, it's just a nice way to balance out your week. You're doing some 80s movies, and then you're doing some recent TV shows.
Yeah, right.
Or TV show, I should say.
You get to listen to me call myself Paul and Doug on opposite weeks because which confuses me sometimes when I have to introduce myself on both of these shows now.
Oh yeah, how do you do it? Well, you're DP here. You're DP.
Okay, I mean I don't say that. You say that. So I don't have to remember that. I don't have to remember 2 letters. I do have to remember an entire name.
Oh, well, that's your problem.
Well, this may be the longest it's taken us to get to an episode in a very long time. But there's a good reason for that. We had stuff to talk to you guys about. So
and I had to get my mics right.
Right. Guys, again, another reason to subscribe on Patreon. You could have listened to that whole debacle where possibly Jamie was recording in multiple microphones at once. She left for some reason. I had nothing to talk about. But I tried.
Oh, this podcast.
Yep. Thank you so much to the patrons for not unsubscribing.
Holding on for a hero. I don't know.
What? Wait, what was?
Yeah.
Wait.
Like we're heroes.
Oh, okay. Was that was the song from Harry Crumb?
Yeah.
Okay, when he was on the let's call it the airplane steps.
Yep, when he was on the big airplane stairs.
Okay. All right, but anyway, Who's Harry Crumb is on Patreon, but we're not talking about that. We are talking about Follow That Bird.
Which also has music in it. Yeah, which you mentioned.
I like all those silent movies that we talk about. Movies devoid of music.
I'm finding the least common denominator.
John Candy is the thing that links these two movies. You would say there's music in both. I want to see that on the poster of Follow That Bird. There's music in this movie. Jamie Lorello. Good Times, Great Movies. All right. Okay, so Follow That Bird is from 1985, directed by a guy whose name is Ken Kwapis. Kwapis. He is a fairly prolific TV director. He directed a bunch of episodes of The Larry Sanders Show, Malcolm in the Middle, The Office, Santa Clarita Diet, which is that on Netflix?
I don't know. That sounds like something that gives you the shits.
Yeah, I don't. Oh, that one worked. Guys, we may be cooped up with our families a little too long at this point. All right, so let's get into this movie, Jamie. It's a Sesame Street.
Let's dive in. It is. It's a Sesame Street movie, and I had never seen this movie before, but I of course loved Sesame Street as a kid.
Sure.
I had a little Sesame Street playset thing. Like, I don't know if anybody else had this. It was like the Sesame Street, fold out. I don't want to say it was a house because it was all their little apartments with the grocery store at the bottom and Bert and Ernie's apartment at top and a little chalkboard thing on the side. You clearly didn't have one or can't relate to it.
Is it because I can't spell? Like, clearly you didn't have a chalkboard where you could practice your letters. I've seen your texts. They're horrible.
No, I'm saying you didn't have this toy.
I did not, no.
But it was a lot of fun, and I spent a lot of hours playing with it.
I mean, I think us, basically our age, Sesame Street is just a little bit older than we are. So we were we weren't necessarily watching Sesame Street at this time, but it probably wasn't long before this movie that we were kind of getting out of Sesame Street. It's
Speak
like
for
preschool.
yourself.
Okay, all right, okay, I will, and I am. So it's like preschool age. So it's not as though there were a bunch of characters in here that I didn't know, or
Sure.
I mean, since my kids,
I have to tell you, I don't know all of the humans' names. I know Maria.
Gordon
and I
is
know
the bald
Gordon,
man.
And who's everybody else?
There's Bob. Bob is the
He was
kinda
driving.
like white guy. He kind of
He stayed
back in
back.
Hooper's
Yeah.
store. Yes, he
Oh,
ran the store.
Okay, who's Cooper?
Well, Hooper. Wait a minute.
Hooper.
Hold on a
Mr.
second.
Hooper.
Mr. Hooper was
Oh,
the old
yeah,
man
yeah.
who used to own the store that
Yes.
died in real
yes,
life.
I remember Mr. Hooper.
And then they had a very big episode where they had to talk about death to these puppets.
I thought you said Cooper. Sorry. I know who
No.
Mr. Hooper is. Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say, I don't know if that playset was complete.
No,
I like how this movie taught me that, and I guess I just never really thought about it, Big Bird's name is Big Bird. His first name is
Yeah.
Big, and his last name is Bird.
Yeah, I like how that.
Because they're constantly referring to him as just Big or
Yeah.
Mr. Bird. It's crazy.
I
I
know.
never really thought about that before.
Yeah, how it's a separated out name. Yeah.
Well, and we'll get into the characters I wrote down their names. I don't know all of the, as you call them, humans up. Did you love it at the end when they were like, we have all kinds here
Yeah.
on Sesame Street. We have people. We have Bert and Ernie. And I was
Yeah.
like, what
Yeah.
are Bert and Ernie? Because then they went on to like birds
And
dogs, and I
monsters,
was like,
yeah.
wait, Bert and Ernie are different than all of these things, I guess.
And they are. They're their own, Bert and Ernie. And
They're
they're the ones that should have been like the leads on this adventure. They're the aviators. They had the airplane.
That's what, and this was really nice because, as I was kind of saying earlier, my kids, of course, watch Sesame Street.
Oh,
So my oldest now is 13 and my youngest is 5, and she doesn't really watch it anymore. So I've seen it recently. And of course, now, I mean, Elmo's probably not as big as he was maybe 10 years ago, but they have
Right.
all these new and different characters.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So it was really nice to sort of travel back and be like, oh, yeah, it used to be like the Oscar the Grouch show.
Yeah.
And, like all of these characters, I don't want to say got pushed in the background, but I was surprised at the amount of screen time the Count had.
Oh, yeah.
In this.
And his own car to follow him around. Nobody
Car
drove with the Count.
alone.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to drive with the Count.
Did you see in the beginning when the Count is getting his shoe shined by a kid?
I did not see that. I must have,
Yeah.
I must have missed that. They do like to show the Count's feet because he's like wearing wingtips. He's always wearing really nice shoes.
Which makes sense why they need to be shined.
Yeah. And where
Yeah.
is his castle exactly? Like that's the Sesame Street is New York, basically.
Right.
So
right.
to have a castle, or does he just decorate a little apartment that way?
Maybe it's his own little apartment, all decored out
Okay.
for the
Alright.
Count.
I enjoyed seeing these
penthouse.
characters. I really
Yeah.
liked seeing the old school.
Oh, and
I don't like
Super
that term,
Grover. I do love a
Super-
Super Grover.
I was not surprised, but I always thought Super Grover like fell a lot or tripped. Like right from the jump, he trips, but I didn't know that he actually flew. Like that
Oh
was
boy.
that
Oh, boy,
was
does he.
shocking to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's it. That was all of that bird. All right, so I guess we should jump in and talk about this movie.
Follow that
Go ahead,
bird.
go, because
Well,
we don't even start with
don't-
anything that makes sense.
Well, it's just we start with just the Grouch, like you said. You're like, is this the Grouch movie? And it's the Grouch and the American flag, and
Yeah.
right.
It's
and
like
then
a Patton-esque beginning with a
Yeah.
giant flag in the background, and Oscar pops out of his trash can.
and then we have not really a lot, just in this one part for the WB little, what do you call that? The little opening. We have the cartoon Big Bird.
Yeah. And we also get cartoons when Big Bird like reminisces about his time on Sesame Street or
Yeah.
thinks like, I wonder what they're doing right now. And it's always cartoons,
Yeah.
which that's not in
Sesame Street. No, I tried to remember. Did they ever have little flashbacks like that, or they did that? But they didn't, right? No, they didn't.
No, never. But I don't understand the Grouch national anthem. Like that's what we're doing here at the beginning. Why? Why are we doing a Grouch anthem? What does this mean? And it has nothing to do with anything.
I was confused at how. Well, I guess because he's fun, because he's grouchy. But the Grouch does have more of a lead. I want to know more. Maybe Snuffy should have done the intro, because he's Bird's best friend, right? Or Big's best friend. But the Grouch doing this little intro.
You keep calling him the Grouch. Do you refuse to call him Oscar? Are you opposed to referring to him by name? The Grouch. I'm not going to give that asshole the time of day. I'm not going to refer to him by his name at all.
Because he's so dang grouchy. Well, there's the Count and the Bird and the Snuffleupagus and the dog, Barkley, and...
Okay, all these things, except for Snuffleupagus, have names.
All right.
And you even said Barkley. So after this, we are transported to some sort of bird boardroom?
It's a bird meeting. Not a board meeting, it's a bird meeting with all these birds in a meeting. And I guess their goal is they place stray birds with other bird families. Now, I didn't know. I always thought, maybe judging by his size, that Big Bird was like maybe 14 or 15. But he is just 6 years old.
6 years old. Those are some weird details that we get. And why they're so concerned about Big Bird? I'm like, what? Why?
Why is he even on your radar? Bird meeting people.
Right? Why is he on your radar? And why, after 6 years, do you give a shit about this?
Yeah. And what about? I thought this was about reuniting him with his real bird family. Like his real family has missed him, and maybe he didn't feel he still felt out of place because Sesame Street was a real. But they put him with a bunch of literally dodo birds. I wouldn't want to be with this family either.
No, it's horrible.
So
why? So did these dodos? Do they put in an application because they're looking to adopt another child?
I guess. In their weird birdhouse.
They live in the suburbs in a giant birdhouse. It's crazy. It makes no sense. I love it because I watched this with my kids, and the youngest one, she loved it. She just sat there. But the older two, the whole time, were like, does nobody think it's weird that a giant bird's around? So these birds just live in this neighborhood with people? Are they the only birds there? I was like, these are all great questions.
They're the dodos, and they're accepted as long as they stay together. That's one thing that I thought was an interesting. So the bird, this bird meeting, part of what they instill is that birds should stay together with their own kind.
Yes, everything. There's a lot of your own kind in this.
Yes.
And it's a really nice, it's a kids movie, of course, but it's a very, very nice message to kids. And it's what, I guess it's what Sesame Street is all about is, like, look at all these kids. We have all these kids, different ethnicities, hanging out on Sesame Street with all these puppets and animals and everything like that. And it's great. You don't need to stay with your own kind. And they just took it to a wonderful extreme with this this bird story.
The weird bird story, exactly.
But you're right, too, because since I had not seen this, I thought it was like, listen, we found Big Bird's real family.
Right. And they're looking for him.
Yeah, but no, this woman just basically comes in and is like, hey, you shouldn't live here. This is horrible.
Yeah, why are you living here? Yeah, and we're going to come and take you. Don't you want to live? So Big Bird does sort of think about it. Now we see that he's got a nice little life on Sesame Street. Sesame Street's just this great little place, right?
Wonderful.
And Mrs. Finch, one of the birds from this bird meeting, comes to Sesame Street for Big, as she calls him, because like you said, he's two names. And he does sort of think about the idea of like, yeah, maybe I could be. Because he's walking down Sesame Street and there's a little bird on a lamppost and it's tweeting away. And he's like, hey, look at you, little birdie. He's roller skating because that's what Big Bird does. Which I wondered why he didn't bring his roller skates, because the roller skating would have helped him on his walk back to Sesame Street. Right?
You know what wouldn't have helped him? In the middle of Illinois, flippers and a beach ball.
Yeah, I don't know what he was thinking when he was packing.
He decides to pack.
Well, he packed a picnic basket, let's be honest. He doesn't really pack a suitcase.
It's not a suitcase, you're right. And he leaves the dodos without it, too. He just leaves all his
because
possessions
he's just
there
ready to
except for
go.
radar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, his little dog.
Did you notice when we do first go to Sesame Street that there are kids? I guess they're like Oscar the Grouch groupies hanging out with him, and they're wearing garbage can lids on their heads.
I didn't notice that, but that's awesome. Little Oscar groupies, that's fun.
Yeah.
Oh,
this is where when she comes to talk to him, this what's her name, Mrs. Finch or something?
Mrs. Finch.
Because it's a bird. When she's talking to him about how great it would be to have a family, this is another cartoon part where he imagines animated sequences of all the things birds do, like go fishing and play baseball.
Yeah. That's what bird families do. And they snuggle together in bed. That's a bird family. And he thinks, yeah, you know what? Maybe I could visit and see what bird families would be like.
Maybe I could go to
Oceanville,
Ocean
Illinois.
View.
Ocean View.
Oh, no wonder he packs flippers. Boy.
This
movie went right over my head.
In so many ways. A bird that gets on an airplane? Come on.
I get it. I don't know what I get. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay. Fine. The hard thing about leaving, besides leaving, of course, is what he really realizes at the end is his real family in Sesame Street, is leaving his buddy, Snuffleupagus.
Snuffleupagus. Yes.
Yeah, when his name is on the mailbox and it's all spelled out, I'm like, oh, that's how you spell it.
I love finally being vindicated for saying Snuffleupagus all this time and people saying, no, it's Snuffleupagus. And in my stupid brain, I'm like, maybe everybody else is right. No, I'm finally right.
Now you're proven. There you go. There's a little victory right there.
But I like how he has so the whole thing, and if you don't remember, if it was a long time ago for you listeners, the whole thing with Snuffleupagus for the longest time was conveniently, Big Bird was the only one who saw him.
Yes.
He would show up and Big Bird would tell people that he had this friend who was like a fuzzy elephant and everybody thought Big Bird was crazy. So I guess this is still happening at this time in this movie because nobody else sees him, even though he has a mailbox with his name on it. He seemingly has a lot of property. They're just wandering around like this large estate talking.
He does have a lot of property, Snuffy, but he's a big guy. He's a woolly mammoth elephant? I don't know.
I think that's probably fair to say.
Okay. But it's going to be sad to leave his bestie.
Yeah.
But he promises that Big says, you can come visit as soon as I'm settled. And the gang at Sesame Street bids him farewell. The Count tells him, don't forget to count. Right? Grover tells him, don't forget to breathe in and out.
Yep. And I love how when he says goodbye to Oscar, and Oscar goes, that's the nicest thing you've ever said to me. But first, all the humans do gather around and they say, Big Bird, why are you leaving? We are your family.
Right.
But you know what? He needs to stretch his wings and go explore beyond Sesame Street.
Yeah, and see what it's like to be a bird.
And as you said, he's on a plane.
There's a bird on a plane.
There's a couple of kids sitting in front of him, and the boy is reading Muscle Fitness magazine.
Oh, I didn't see the magazine.
I wrote in my notes,
That's
and I was
awesome.
like, I better check later if that's a real magazine. I didn't check.
That's awesome, though.
I thought it was an odd thing for the prop department to be like, yeah, this kid will read this.
That's what he's into. Yeah, that's a good plane read right there. Yeah. When he lands at the airport, these dodos are immediately dodoed.
Wow.
They're like, right? They're like, oh, do you see them? They're a sloppy family. And they don't even see that there's a giant yellow bird that walks off the plane and they're like, oh, maybe he's not here. They bump into him at the airport and they're like, oh, was there a yellow bird on your plane? And Big is like, do you mean me? Are you looking for me?
No,
and
because Big Bird even says, well, I'm the only big yellow bird on that plane. Yeah. And they're like, maybe he's on the other plane. And I'm like, what is happening here? It's just like these idiots are making Big Bird seem very intelligent.
Yeah, super intelligent. But they realize that they're his, that they belong together. So now we go. And like you said, they live in the suburbs. They live in a birdhouse on a
Yep.
street with other regular houses.
I like
And
how they get out of the car and seemingly forget that they went to the airport to get a new member of their family. They all
Right.
just close the doors of the car
Yeah.
and go inside their home and don't even seem to understand how to open the door to their house.
they're dodos. Well,
I
then they
know.
do. Big Bird writes a letter to Sesame Street to say about all the things he's doing with the dodos, life with the
Yep.
dodos. And he talks about how they look for worms, but they can't ever find them. They have a ride-on lawnmower that they don't know how it works, and it just kind of roams the lawn. They exercise, where they
Weird
watch a
detail.
little... Yeah.
Weird detail.
But in the end of the letter, it's really sad because Big Bird goes through all these things. So you're thinking, okay, look, he's kind of having fun with these dodos. But no. He says, I should be happy, but I'm not.
Yep.
Oh,
And when he says that, we see them putting him to bed and not giving him a kiss, which I
No.
assume, like, Sesame Street must be Kissin' City. Like,
yeah, they must smooch and cuddle.
all the time.
All the
They,
time.
like, pat him on the back, like, hang in there, buddy, and then
Yeah.
leave his room.
But now that letter is what fuels the people, or the people of Sesame Street decide he needs
Yes.
us. What we need to do is go get him, right?
We got to go bust him out because
Mm-hmm.
they also know that Big Bird's not the brightest bulb. I mean, I think they understand that Big Bird is not going to be able to make his way home from Illinois.
Right.
So they need
He thinks
to...
it's going to take him 3 hours to get back because it only took him 2 hours by plane. And I love it when Wailing Jennings has to tell him, "No, buddy, that's going to take you like 3 weeks."
Yep.
He's like, "Oh man."
I also like how he gets a ride from Waylon Jennings by saying, well, I'm not a turkey, but my friend Oscar calls me a turkey all the time. He's like, well, I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
Hop
in. Let's sing a great little tune. One of the best songs.
But the thing that really breaks the straw that breaks the camel's back,
Sure.
so to speak, here is that the children dodos, also who are named Donnie and Marie.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
What?
Yeah.
And the boy is voiced by Eddie Deason, clearly. They don't know how to use their imagination.
That's right. That's right. Big Bird wants to play with them. Let's use our imaginations. And they're stuck. They just, okay, well, imagine. I'm Donnie and you're Marie. And Big Bird's like, I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And then he gets a giant postcard from Snuffleupagus.
It's pretty great. Like, of course it has to be giant. He has to hold the pen with that enormous trunk.
Yeah,
and
with
try
that trunk and
write
right.
all this.
Yeah.
But I love what Big Bird wanted to play when he was like, let's play pretend. I'm Snow White. Okay, all right. And you two are all the 7
Yeah,
dwarfs.
you're all the dwarfs. Yeah. Like maybe start small with them, Bird. You
Yes.
know?
Yeah. Let's pretend we're a plane. You have wings. You can
Right,
probably do
right.
that outside.
Uh-huh.
Like, I don't know. Don't start with
Snow White. Well, maybe that was
movie
a
they
dream
probably
of
have
his.
never seen.
He loves it. He wants Snuffy to be the prince that wakes him up.
That's
I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
probably.
know.
So the big thing is, I mean, it's not use their imagination. I may have jumped the gun there because what does Big Bird want? He wants Snuffy to visit.
Yes.
And what do the birds say? No, you should
no,
be with your own
just
kind.
keep with your own
Your best
kind.
friend can't be
Right.
a woolly mammoth. Your best friend should be a bird.
And that's just not going to do. That's not how Big Bird was raised. That's 6
Right.
years in Sesame Street where they love all kinds. He
That's
can't just
right.
flip his beak like that,
Uh-huh.
change his feather so quick. He can't just wing it in that way.
Got any more? Is that it?
Not right now.
Okay, all right. Bird puns. That's why you guys came here. Now, can we go to my favorite part of this entire movie? Is Chevy Chase.
Chase
doing
on the news.
I loved it because he does the weather. And
Yeah.
he says, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
A beautiful day for a neighbor. And then stops for a while and then goes, won't you be mine? And he does not know that it's called Sesame Street.
He calls it
Sesame Street. Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Sesame Street. That's what it is.
Which is really great.
He's wonderful. I really do think the guest stars that
The
they
little
got in here
cameos, yeah.
are just doing it,
Yeah.
which is kind of surprising, I think.
No, well done. Very well done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's all we see of him. There's no other further news
Nope.
report. So you take your Chevy
He does.
cameo.
He does throw it to Kermit, who is
Oh,
interviewing
yeah.
the Dodo family
Yes.
because of their missing child.
Yeah, but they're idiots. They're like, "Are we on TV? Yeah, let's go watch
they go
ourselves
inside
on
to
TV."
watch themselves
Yeah.
because they're on TV.
But Kermit was another fun. I want to say it was
Mm-hmm.
a cameo by Kermit.
Yeah, because Kermit used to be in Sesame Street, but he was only a reporter. Like every now and then
Right.
he'd do something where he was in that same like gray suit and gray hat. And you know,
Kermit
that's
the
why,
Frog.
Yeah, and that's why I always refer to Sesame Street characters as Muppets because they're Muppets.
They're Muppets.
That's what Bert and Ernie are. They should have just said, and those two Muppets over there.
No, they're Bert and Ernie. They're their own standalone personas.
we have humans and we have Berts and Ernies and birds and stuff.
Yeah, we have Grouches and Snuffies and dogs and monsters and Bert and Ernie.
Why did Bert bring his entire bottle cap collection with him?
I know. Why are you packing that shit on the plane, huh? Why? And then I love it when it falls on Big Bird and he's like, "It's hailing now?
It's
What is
hail.
this?"
Hot hail? I
Yeah.
don't know.
That must mean Flash is near. Anyway, they all catch the news where they see Bert and Ernie catch it, the Count watches it, and they see that, and they're at the candy shop, is where the news is being shown, but it also looks like a bar.
Oh,
where,
it totally
doesn't
looks
it?
From that angle that I
Yeah.
don't think they've ever shown on the show,
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, this is just a bar. I totally, for
Yeah.
just a split second, I was like, there's a bar on Sesame Street?
Yeah, I was like,
amazing.
Wait, what is this, after hours on Sesame Street? What's happening? But yeah, they all get the scoop on the news that the bird has escaped.
Yeah.
And now is when they decide, like, he's not smart enough to really escape and get back here on his own. We better go meet him halfway and help him get back. There's
Now,
also... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I have the groups broken down. I wrote down all their names
Oh,
and who's in
who
what
is in
car,
each group?
If you want me
Okay.
to go through that.
Yeah, let's do it.
So as we said earlier, the Count is in his own car, his own cool car. Like it's
Very cool car.
It's really awesome. It's
Again-
purple and black, just like the Count.
Why no one wants to hitch a ride with the Count? Like, Telly could have rode with the Count. How fun would that little duo have been?
Yeah, because it gives the Count nothing to do. Like I said,
Yeah.
until he's...
He counts light posts, or what does he count?
He does. They go to him there, but other than that, he has nothing to do until he shows up at the gas station.
Yeah.
So in Gordon's car, it's Gordon and his wife Olivia, and the deaf woman whose name I do not know, and Cookie Monster goes
Yeah,
with them.
Cookie Monster. And
'Cause
he
he has-
eats parts
Eats
of the car. He just eats
the
when
entire car by the end.
he's eating hubcaps and luggage and all the things. He's a hungry monster.
And in another car, they take Oscar's jalopy, and he's got Telly with him. He's got one of those honker things.
Yeah,
And Maria, I wanted, when they stuck Maria with Oscar, I wanted like a scene of her being like, no, I can't do this. But
Yeah.
she was on board. She was ready to go.
Yeah, she's ready to go.
And then
I like
Bert,
their... Go ahead. And Bert and Ernie.
Bert and Ernie take a plane that
Yeah.
they apparently own.
Yep.
Not sure.
Yeah.
And Super Grover flies. So there's a lot of people out
On
covering a
on
lot
this
of
mission.
ground. Yeah.
And now some stay behind.
Mm-hmm.
To like Snuffy obviously doesn't go, and what's his name stays. What's his
I don't
name?
know.
The guy that stays.
Oh, yep. Let's call him Jeff.
Nope,
That's not his
that's
name.
not his
Bob.
name.
Bob.
Bob is such an easy name. Bob stays behind.
It's just Bob and a couple of kids that
Yeah.
like watch this map and like move the little cars around on the map.
Yeah, exactly, and the little faces. But the plan is they're all gonna head to a certain spot where they're gonna all meet.
Yeah, they like
and-
fan out. Like some go across New York and
Right,
some
they take
swing
all these
down
different
toward
routes.
Philadelphia and some kind of cut in the middle. And then they're all going to converge on some mushroom town, Toadstool.
Yeah, Toadstool. Great little mushroom
For
town.
some reason, they're like, I guess that's where he might be. I
It's
don't
a
know
good
what this
cutoff
is all
spot.
about.
I think it's a good maybe cutoff spot to catch him at. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
the
that's
giant
where
city of Toadstool.
you know, on
Yeah.
the way to Ocean View, Illinois. But they're supposed to check in with Bob.
Right, to update him about their progress.
Did you notice their little license plates, like Grouch's car's license plate says Scram on it? And the Count's license plate obviously is numbers. And then the farmer, Waylon Jennings' car says Gobble on the license plate.
Oh my God. Wow, a lot of personalized license
Yeah,
plates going on.
right? They love it. They love it. So they're all set now on this adventure. By flying, by car, by jalopy, however. And now Bird is ready for his own adventure. He starts by skipping his little legs.
Slows down,
And
and
then-
it's just this la 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 la. It's nonsense, but it's kind of fun.
Sure.
He gets a ride, as we said, from Waylon Jennings, and he sings Big Bird a song.
Great little tune that they sing together. They sing a little "Ain't No Road Too Long." Is the name of the song, and they sing, and I think everybody gets a little time to sing along.
Yeah, most times when there's a song, it's sort of montagey where we go to all the different cars and everybody's sort of singing the same song, and it's a lot of fun.
And this one in particular, it's an uplifting song. It's in the beginning. It's Waylon is throughout, so you've got this was my favorite song, I think.
Yeah, it's the only one that is uplifting because they just get more sad and depressing
this adventure
from
gets
here.
sadder. No, there's another one that's kind of cute, I think, but it's not quite this. Anyway.
Is that when he's with the kids on the farm?
Yeah.
Probably.
And they're...
Right. Well, that's what happened. So first, I think we have to introduce the rest of our
Sleaze
characters.
brothers.
Because the Sleaze brothers, Dave Thomas from Strange Brew.
From Wendy's.
Dave Thomas, founder of Wendy's. And what's his name? I can't think of his name. Joe Flaherty.
Who wasn't he just in...
He was just in Who's Harry Crumb. Yeah, he was just in Who's Harry Crumb. It's funny because, of course, he was just in Who's Harry Crumb with John Candy. And the director of Follow That Bird directed some episodes of Freaks and Geeks that Joe Flaherty was in.
Look at this full circle.
The tiny town of Hollywood.
Like Sesame Street itself.
Right, so they own a carnival or something? Or
Yeah,
just like
some kind
a
of
series
fair.
of rides and apparently dart balloon games?
Yeah, it's called the Unfair, right? Because it's not...
Oh, yeah, of course, yes. Who would go to the unfair? Well, actually, I don't know, just to see what it's like, I'd probably go.
Yeah.
They see on the news, they see the newscast that everybody else sees, that there's this giant bird on the run, and they're like, hey, we could use him in our act. And also Mrs. Finch is after Big Bird. So there's a lot of people hot on the trail of Big Bird at this point.
And mind you, he's a big yellow bird.
You shouldn't be able to miss him, but constantly he ducks and people don't see him.
Yeah.
They turn around and suddenly he's gone.
He's quick moving, too. Like, he's...
At one point, he mails Radar back to Sesame Street because I guess carrying a teddy bear is way too much work.
It's just a lot, yeah.
And Mrs. Finch is on the other side of the road and does not see him.
No.
And there's no one else on the street.
She's distracted.
I guess. So after he gets this ride from Waylon Jennings, he walks down a dead-end street that he thinks is just the name of a road.
Yeah, no through road. This must be it, he says.
I don't know how does he go? Like, I was sitting there trying to think of no through road. Where's the pun? Like, I was even sitting there going, it must mean something about... No, it's just Big Bird doesn't understand.
He doesn't know. He's not. He knows Sesame Street, right?
So he meets a couple kids. The one's got a slingshot in his back pocket like he's Dennis the Menace.
Because they're just farm kids. Doesn't he tell the kids, I'm a bird on the run? Oh, no, they look at him and they, right?
They're like, there's that bird from the news.
Yeah. Because he's actually like in their chicken coop hanging out.
Yes. And they hide him in the barn overnight. make him a little bed, and he sings a sad song that reminded me of the song in
Feifel.
what's that Fievel movie?
Yeah.
Yes. I was kind of upset because I was like, this is not nearly as good as that song. But
I know.
it's supposed to be the same thing.
But it is. It is. Yeah, because he's sad. He's sad that, it's a cold barn that he's in.
Yeah,
not his
and
little-
it's another one of those things where it's just back to the people trying to find him and
Right.
him, and they're all singing a sad song about, I don't know, we're sleeping underneath the same big. Nope, that's not it.
No, that's
Oh,
not it.
okay.
It is some sort of like
It's just
they're all
like-
looking up at stars and they're camping out. They don't stop for hotels. They have monsters with them, so they have to camp out, I guess, on their drive.
They all camp out, but Oscar decides to
Oh, yeah.
go to the don't drop in, and this is my second favorite part of the movie.
This is pretty good. He convinces them because when they pull up, Maria's like, "No, we are not going here." And he's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
come on! If nothing else, it'll be entertaining. Let's go. You're not seeing
But he
anything
doesn't,
like it."
because Telly and that honker are like, no, we're not going in there, and they stay outside. And for whatever reason, Maria's like, all right, let's go in. How bad
She's
could
like,
this
"I
be?"
guess, yeah." And it's filthy. It's crazy. It's filled
Yep.
with a bunch of grouches, human and puppet form.
Sure. That's how I refer to Sandra Bernhard. Just
She's-
a giant human grouch.
She is in there. She is the waitress. And what are some of the items on the menu? I should have wrote some of them down.
Oh, I didn't write any of them down.
They were. I know they serve spaghetti with maple syrup
Right,
to the. Is it to the grouch or someone else at one of the tables?
It's one of the other. I was so confused because everybody looked like Oscar that people
Yeah.
would order and they'd bring food. And I'm like, oh, Oscar
That's
must
not
have.
Oscar.
Oh, no, he's having salad.
That's not,
Nope.
yeah. Well, they have, So she lists stuff, and it's like really gross stuff.
It's
like,
all gross, like anchovies and
with mashart with cherries, and it's just
maraschino
weird.
cherries,
Yeah.
anchovies, and
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah, it's just and
Yeah.
Maria's not into it, but finally she asks to toss salad. Sounds good.
Right. And I think we have to point out that the chef here is Paul Bartel
Oh,
from
yes.
Chopping Mall fame, where he referred to a robot as looking a little too ethnic. So, of course, tossed salad. I mean, you cannot. This place is. I like how there's somebody, I don't know, you just hear him asking for Jell-O periodically throughout the whole thing. And at the end of this giant food fight, you just hear, "Where's my Jell-O?" So Paul Bartel's got this catapult that he just slings lettuce around
And it's just
in.
flying everywhere. All this salad, before you know it, this is just a restaurant with literally tossed salads
Grouches
happening
are
all
throwing
over.
it at people. People are throwing it at Grouches. It's kind of funny too, and it's also funny because Telly and this honker
Oh,
looking
yeah.
through the window, and Telly's like, maybe we should have gone in. That lettuce looks pretty good."
Yeah, it looks like good lettuce. The Telly. Maria is not happy though. She's like, "This is
No.
stop with the lettuce in my face. I can't
Yep.
with the lettuce in my face."
Big Bird helps his kids with chores.
Yeah.
It's not that great. I mean, I was.
I do like it when they show him how the water pump works, and he's like, "I didn't know water came from the ground." And then there's like this sweet Helen Keller, Annie Sullivan moment where they pump the water for Big Bird, and he's like, "Water, oh
No,
great."
you're right, yeah. It is pretty funny. Oh my god.
And then they go and they water the plants on the farm. And they sing a song about an easygoing day. It's called.
It's just.
That's what it's called.
It's so dumb.
It's
It's so dumb. Like
It's the easy listening version.
until he
of it,
gets
yeah.
like kidnapped and captured, I was
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
like, all right, what are we doing here? Because none of his little adventures, like he doesn't really meet anyone else fun anymore. Because I was like, oh, Chevy Chase and Waylon Jennings, and I knew John Candy was going to show up, and
Yeah, who's gonna
it
be?
takes John Candy forever to show up in this movie, and
I
there's
know.
no one in between. We just saw Sandra Bernhard, and now it's just nothing for
Yeah.
a real long time.
Yeah. You wanted somebody to be like,
Yeah.
who's their parent on the farm? Maybe she could have been
Right.
somebody, or he could have. Yeah, but
We
they
never
don't.
meet parents because
No.
Mrs. Finch shows up,
Yes.
and Big Bird runs away into a field.
Into
where
a
he
field of
hides
hay. He
into a
hides under
hay
a hay
field.
bush,
Yes.
hay bale.
Right after that, he oddly hallucinates stuff and tries to hug a hallucination. It's
Yeah,
really weird.
That's kind of weird. Yeah, he's. I guess he needed to have that moment. I wish it was like out of exhaustion and like he was just thirsty.
Yes.
But it does. You just. I
He
guess
tries
that's where it
several
came
times.
from.
I don't know how many times
Yeah, he
he
keeps
tries
running
to
to hug
hug
him.
a Mirage, but at least 3 times.
I mean, I don't know. He's a hopeful bird, but it doesn't work for him.
No.
And eventually, his little snuffy Mirage disappears.
Right.
And,
but this is when we're finally, because I kind of forgot about them, Bert and Ernie show up in their bi-wing plane.
Yes. They are the first on the adventure to spot Big Bird, right?
Yeah, they see him. He's a giant
Yeah,
bird
yeah.
in the middle of nothing. So they see him.
And now this is when Bert decides, or Ernie decides, to do all these plane tricks to get his attention.
They fly upside down for an extended period of time, like way too long for the two of them not to have fallen out of that.
They're doing some sweet Top Gun moves. I don't know what they're
Right,
thinking.
pretty much.
But yeah, and this is when Bert has all of his collection of bottle caps that fall out, and
then they switch places too.
yeah.
In midair, upside down, they somehow get out of their seats, switch places. They're singing a song,
Yeah.
and then when they like come to their senses, they're like, "Well, Big Bird's gone.
Yeah.
I don't know where he is anymore."
We lost him.
Did you also get the feeling that like Oscar kind of has the hots for Maria, or was that just me
Oh,
looking into?
I
this
did
too
not
much?
take that in.
Okay,
But you're a little.
I don't
You've
know.
got
At one point, she gets mad at him, and he's like, "Ooh, an angry face in such a beautiful place."
That's because they're in the junkyard. He loves being in the
Right,
junkyard.
I know, but
You
I
think he's
know,
in-
but I read that as I don't know. I shouldn't read into.
You shouldn't read into a Grouch's
Human
Muppet Grouch's.
puppet love?
No. I mean, you can if it's what helps you get through your days. Again, judgment free here.
Wouldn't that be something if that's what helped me get through my days?
It's my imaginary Muppet human relationships that help you get through my days. Whatever works, DP. Whatever
All right.
works.
Okay. So everyone, I mean, after a bunch of nonsense, let's say, and I'm not trying to move too far ahead, because I think it's around this time that, for some reason, everyone converges on Toadstool during this mushroom parade.
Oh yeah.
And I was thinking about the garlic documentary. So it's
Oh,
like,
because you were
who's
like, this
parade
is like
about
a
mushrooms?
town. Yeah, this is like a garlic town, but it's a mushroom town. Yeah, before we get to that town though, I guess you don't need to. We have the
Put in what you want. It doesn't matter.
well, we have Super Grover that thinks everybody starts to maybe see Big Bird, and Super Grover thinks he sees him, but it's really the yellow car, the yellow Volkswagen that Gordon's in.
Yes.
With Olivia, so he crashes into that.
Which is puzzling that Grover can't tell the difference between Big Bird and a car.
I'm just saying, Grover maybe has a little farsightedness.
Well, possibly. Yeah, no, definitely. And he would have been injured, but for some reason, Cookie Monster is eating the car and has chewed a hole in the roof of this
Which is a
car.
perfect landing spot for.
Yes.
And he gets in that car and he's like, "This is not a Big Bird." Anyway, and the Sleaze
That was
brothers.
close. You wanted to do a Grover, didn't you?
I
you
did.
really wanted to just go all in, and at the last minute you pulled out and you were like, it's
Far
just...
near.
Okay, all right.
Right?
there we
That's
go.
pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is not a Big Bird.
Oh, you got it. All right.
The Sleaze brothers have a near catch too with Big Bird, where they have a net out hanging out their truck and they almost catch him. It's again when Big Bird disappears quickly. He ducks down to rub his feet, like, "Oh, my poor feet are so tired."
Yeah.
And the Sleaze brothers net misses him, and then he's gone. Big Bird's gone.
And also, they have a net that's like have a 3-foot
it's-
diameter. They're
yeah.
not catching an 8-foot
No, it's
bird.
catching
They-
butterflies. It's not catching Big Bird. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because Big Bird gets up after they go past him and looks over and goes, "I think I'll rest by that tree." They turn
Yeah.
around,
He's
gone.
gone.
And it's I don't know where they are. Maybe Ohio, not sure. It's the flattest area.
Yeah,
They should be
you
able to see
can't
a
not
giant
miss
bird
a
by
giant yellow
tree.
bird. I know why you got distracted, because it's around here that Oscar, I guess, according to you, makes his moves on Maria. And you must have gotten just sidetracked by all of that, because
Yeah.
now we're all at Toadstool.
That's
That's
okay,
why
that's what
you-
it was. That's
Yeah.
when I started to write my fan fiction.
Yes.
And then I was like, oh wait, no, I should be taking notes on this movie.
Then Maria invites the Grouch back to the bar at Sesame Street that nobody knows about. It's open up
Sesame
after hours.
Street Bar.
No, but Toadstool is the destination of the mushroom parade. Big Bird is now somehow gets in the middle of the mushroom parade. And now everybody could see the bird. Now everyone does see him. But we are in the middle of a parade, which is, if you've ever been in a parade or in a town when a parade is happening, like, it is hard to maneuver. Sure. You're either in the parade or a spectator. If you're trying to get through that parade or need something, it's just tricky business, right?
Were you ever in a parade?
Yeah, actually.
What? What were you doing?
I have been in parades. One time I was on a Santa...
Wait, one time?
Twice I've been in a parade.
Wow, okay.
That I remember. One time I was in the Poconos. I was on a Santa's float in a parade with Santa Claus. I was one of the elves. And one time I was in a St. Patrick's Day parade on a bar float. In California.
How did you get that Santa Claus elf gig? How did you do that?
I worked at a pizzeria in Mount Pocono.
Wait, that's not how that works. I like how you made that straight line. Pizzeria, Santa float. There you go. Why would you ask me such a dumb question? I worked at a pizzeria, you idiot. Of course I was on Santa's float. Oh. All right.
And that's it, yeah.
Okay. All right, great. This episode, boy.
Oh, man. Well, anyway.
I hope this is someone's first episode and they got this far and they're like, unsubscribe.
Oh, no. No. Come on. Not even because we're covering a really sweet movie. Doesn't matter that we're a mess throughout it. Anyway, this parade is... Even Mrs. Finch is in the middle of this parade. Nobody could stop this bird, Mrs. Finch, from trying to... till the very end. From trying to, I guess, just...
Because that's the thing. Everyone sees Big Bird, but the only person the Big Bird sees is Mrs. Finch.
Right. The other person that Big Bird sees is the Sleazy Brothers. He runs away from the parade into the Sleazy Brothers, I guess, new setup for their unfair. And he's like, hey, guys, can you hide me? Like, I'm trying to hide from this bird lady, Mrs. Finch. And they're like, sure, come hide in this giant cage. And he's like, perfect. I'm a bird. I love a cage.
Swing for him in there and everything.
He's like, this is going to be great. But soon he does realize that he's a caged bird. He's like a Maya Angelou poem. I don't know.
So they lock him up, and now he is part of their show. Mm-hmm. He seems to be a big draw. I mean, I don't know. There's like 12 kids there. But
lots of sets of twins. Lots of sets of twins in that audience. Did you see that?
Yes. Yeah. We also see empty buckets of blue paint because they're like, hey, everybody's looking for a yellow bird, so let's disguise him. Let's paint him blue. And they do, which that's terrifying that they painted him blue. Don't paint your pets, kids.
No,
don't do that.
Don't do that.
If you have a white rabbit and you think it'd be cool blue, don't do it because it will die.
It's not good for it. It's not. And so now he's in a cage and he's on a stage. And he sings, and he's painted blue.
He sings the saddest
song.
His act is to sing the saddest song ever to children. And is this an act they made for him? And did they rehearse it? Like, I'm so confused about all of this.
Even the kids are like, he looks really sad.
They're like, this is depressing. Yeah. Why did my parents take me to the unfair?
This is not...
Did they think this would be fun?
Yeah. Because we're all depressed. And they do. The Sleaze brothers are excited because they're making the money, but the kids now are like...
Well, Dave Thomas is excited. The other guy's...
that's
he's
true.
controlling the spotlight, and he's even crying.
He's crying because it is a sad thing to watch this poor, sad bird. The kids, there's two little kids that decide to go see the crying bird.
Yeah, they just go backstage like it's nothing.
Yeah, they just sneak on back there, and they're like, hey, what can we do? How can we help? And he tells them to call Sesame Street and let them know call and let Bob know what's going on. Mm-hmm. And he knows his friends will help him. And it's cute. The kids are too little, so they climb on each other to make the phone call. And they call Bob, and now Bob spreads the word because just at the right time, the rest of the gang meets up at a gas station.
Yep.
Now they've left the little mushroom town, but they get the call that that's where the fair is and that's where Big Bird is, so
Right.
they decide to head back. As you mentioned, there's, I guess, some fist pumps that happen.
Yep.
The gang is ready to go and find that bird.
They must takes them all night or something. I don't know what happens, but it's the next morning that they all get there, and they all like go into this circus tent where these two sleaze brothers are sleeping. The one's got the keys, and the other one is sleeping on a box just marked cookies. It looked like someone wrote cookies on a shoebox.
Yeah.
They kind of all, every one of these dumb Muppets, like, fucks this whole thing up. They counting the number
Out loud, loudly,
very loudly,
and they're like,
Grover
count.
screams and yells at one point.
Grover says, "I'm gonna break these bars. This is for Super Grover. Let me break these bars," and he can't. He clearly can't.
Yeah, Maria the whole time she's trying to unlock it, and even Big Bird's like, "You should try the other key. I think it's the other key." At one point, he goes, "Ask them if they have more keys."
He says, "Maybe it's a combination lock." Right. And Maria's like, "Shut up, Big Bird. Shut up."
Cookie Monster's eating the cookies that the one guy is sleeping on. It is terrible.
Yeah, you
they
just want
sent the worst team out.
It is.
To go rescue Big Bird.
And sure, and I do like though when to get the keys, they send the deaf lady to get the keys from the sleeping guy's hand because he's like clutching them in his sleep, and she can't get them, and of course he's got the grip, so she waves $1 under his nose.
I thought she was like tickling him, and I
okay.
thought he was going to drop the keys and scratch his nose. Nope, he just lets go of the keys.
Yeah, he smells that $1. Let's go of the keys, and now she's got them. But now there's like a dozen keys on there. None of them are working, and before they know it, the sleazeballs. There's no teamwork as far as you keep an eye on the guys. You open that. So they're all just focused on, can Maria find the right key? Yeah.
Staring at this lock.
And the Sleaze brothers wake up, get in the truck, and start to pull away.
Right.
Now, they've opened the lock.
Unlocks the door, and I was like, why doesn't he just open it and get out?
He doesn't.
Nope.
He doesn't. The truck drives off, and now we've got,
high-speed chase.
High speed enough. It's just Gordon's car though, right? Gordon's like, I got an idea, and he has Olivia drive, and now they have to have Big Bird jump from the back of the cage.
The car now has no hood,
yeah,
no roof.
no.
I think one of the doors is gone because Cookie
Chewed
Monster
off. It's been chewed off.
Metal.
He's just a hungry monster. And then Big Bird is afraid to jump. He doesn't think it's safe to jump from a moving car. Even though he has wings.
Right.
Yes, he is right. He is right. And I do love it. Gordon's like, I give you permission this one time to do it. And
well, he's only 6 years old, Jamie.
I do like...
I needed something at the end of this where Gordon, legally adopted him or something.
It's like, it's all right. You can call... If you need to call anybody a mom and dad, you can call me and Olivia your mom and dad.
Sure, yeah.
He jumps. He does make the jump. But when you really think about that's a tiny little car that Big Bird jumps onto.
I don't know how many hundreds of pounds this bird is.
I don't know. He's light as a feather, suppose.
It's like nothing, yeah.
Yeah.
And I really do think, I thought, I like this. It was shot really nice. Like, it's strange because the camera does not cut. There's no cuts. You see Big Bird jump from the back of a truck onto the roof of a car. It's really actually pretty great.
It's pretty fun. Yeah, it's pretty action-packed. In the meantime, these two brothers don't even realize that that's happening behind them.
They want to put together a breakdancing act?
Yeah, they want him to be a breakdancing bird. Breaking.
And then they're just like...
They start their beatbox.
There are a couple of disorderlies, these guys, but suddenly they're pulled over by the cops.
Mr. John Candy and his little kid sidecar partner.
He pulls this child that we have not seen. Well, it was one of the kids that called.
Yeah.
He pulls him out of the sidecar, but the kid was so tiny, he just reaches in and produces a child out of this. And I loved it. And as you said, he holds the kid up so you can see them through the window of the truck. And he says that he lists off a bunch of charges, but I like that one was impersonating a dentist,
Yeah.
and the other one was stealing an apple from a child.
And they were like, yeah, we were holding it for him. That's what we were doing. Yeah.
Yeah, so Big Bird is returned to Sesame Street. There is a huge celebration. And did you notice that Elmo pops his head out the window of one of these buildings?
Oh,
This must
yeah,
have
you're
been
right.
before they were like,
big
let's
Elmo
make this
release.
thing a
Yeah,
character.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. In one of the apartment buildings. That's right. Yeah, he's back to Sesame Street. Everyone's thrilled.
But Miss Finch shows up
Mm-hmm.
and talks about like, oh, yeah, the dodos, blah, blah, blah. But I found you an even better
Right,
family.
right. And then the Maria's like, no, this is his family. We're his family. And like we've said, the Mrs. Finch is like, but he's not with other birds. He's not with his own kind. And they list the various amounts of people and Berts and Ernies that are at Sesame Street. And Miss Finch is convinced. Well, you love them, and so that's okay.
I like to think, and I hope that they changed, the way
Their
your
policy,
organization
yeah.
works based on this.
They're like, listen, if birds want to hang out with squirrels, that's fine with us. If birds want to hang out on farms with cows, oh yeah, they have people, they have cows. That's right. They have all kinds of things. And
Dogs
then,
and cats, honkers and grouches.
Yeah.
Yep.
the gamut. They have the gamut. I like when, I don't remember this in the show, was Oscar always carried around by that guy Bruno?
You know what? Very early on, when we watched it as kids, he was.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Not anymore. He's right there at the bottom of those steps
Yeah.
now. He doesn't go anywhere. Bruno's not around anymore. But I do like at the end, Miss Finch is like, "All right, Big."
Yeah.
I love how they call him Big. She's like, "From now on, Sesame Street's your home. I did it. I placed
Yeah.
another bird in a good home." So I really don't think she's learned anything from this at all.
No, she hasn't.
Oh, also before he left, we should say he did ask
Oh.
Snuffleupagus to watch his house, his place, his pad, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
while
his
he's
nest.
gone.
It's his nest.
His nest.
Yeah.
And Snuffy's been doing it the whole time.
Just
Big
stayed
Bird
right
shows up
there.
and he's like, "Hey, you're back. That's great."
Yeah. He's like, can I leave this place and go back to my house? Because I literally haven't stopped watching your stuff.
Can I go back to my palatial mansion,
Yeah.
apparently?
So
With
much
like
room here.
Hundreds of acres
Yeah.
of land because I've been sitting in your nest for a while. And also, I'm surprised Snuffy isn't put off by the fact that Big Bird greets him but with saying, "Oh, you're real this
Yeah.
time."
I don't have to imagine you. I feel like Snuffy was right there though in that imagination sequence. I think
Oh,
they
you think he was having the
I
same-
think it was like a transcendental
Okay,
like
all right.
experience that they shared.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. And that's it. Like that's
Well,
kind
no,
of how the
we
movie
do have the
ends.
count when the credits come up. The count is there to count not all of the credits, but a good deal of the credits
Oh.
for us.
He starts counting the credits, and by the time he got to like 5 or 6, my youngest daughter looked at me and went, "Can we turn this off now?"
Are we done? Are we done?
Yep.
Aww.
Good.
But what did you think?
I thought it was, I'm only basically gonna go by what my kids thought.
Yeah.
They enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought it was
The
fun.
older ones enjoyed it because they were laughing at the silliness
Yeah.
of it. But the youngest one, she was into it, and no harm. It's fine. Let's say.
But even for a kids movie, we're two adults watching a kids movie. It was paced well. It was funny. It
Okay.
was, I don't know. I liked it. I liked
Okay.
it. It was good. It was fun.
All right, that's great.
Do you have another
So-
Muppet recommendation?
No, I don't. But and I don't know. I'm sure there are people out there that can relate. Now that my family and I are stuck in this house all the time
Every day.
now, we have to find different things to do. So we've started we have a family game night,
Fun.
and we have a family movie night. And for our first family movie night, now what we're trying to do with this, and it's going to get tough pretty soon, is we're trying to pick a family movie that no one has seen.
Oh.
I haven't seen, Carla hasn't seen, the kids haven't seen. And our first one was a pretty good choice because it was a little movie called Stuart Little.
Oh, sweet. Stuart Little is so cute. And-
I have never seen it. Gina Davis, Hugh Laurie are the
Yeah,
parents, and Michael J. Fox, and that Lipnicki. Wait, is that his name? Lipnicki?
Yeah.
Jonathan Lipnicki,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it was good. And I was really surprised because it was from, I think, 98 or 99. The CGI looks really good. Like, I thought it would look like garbage by
No, it's a
today's
cute-
standards.
And
Yeah.
he's a similar. He's kind of orphaned and has to go be with a family that
Exactly.
he's not into. Good choice.
I did not think of that, but I just picked a kids movie, so it works better than I thought. Yeah, Stuart Little. It was way more fun than I thought it was going to be.
Good family night pick.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
nice.
So what about you?
I thought too about a cute movie that I had seen recently. I'm like, what's it? Because this movie left me feeling after watching this. I was like, oh, that was so cute. It was just cute. You couldn't give it a bad review because it's about Big Bird, right? So we recently watched that. It's I think it's an Amazon original film, Troop Zero. It's with Viola Davis and Jim Gaffigan. It's really cute. It's really sweet about this little girl and the writer of Beasts of the Southern Wild, which I love that movie. And the directors, I don't know this, I just know it because I read it, but I guess the directors of this movie are called Bert and Bertie. Since these two women, and that's their name, so I thought that kind of flows in there. And it's about these misfit girls. One of them, Christmas is her name, is their like leader, and she wants to join these Birdie Scouts so that she can enter this contest to be on this album to talk to people in outer space. Her mom's passed. She thinks her mom might be in outer space, and it's a really sweet, cute movie. It might work actually for your. I'm trying to think if it's what it's rated.
No, we watched.
Oh,
it.
did you? Oh, perfect.
They loved
so
it.
Cute, right?
They loved it. It is an adorable movie, and again, it's a movie for kids. My youngest didn't watch it; she couldn't sit through it, but it was really, if you're talking about a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old, they loved it.
Yeah,
they absolutely loved it.
Super cute.
It's super adorable, but it's also fun. So even if you don't have kids and you're just looking for something light with minimal cursing, let's say, watch it. It's great.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. Okay.
All right.
So now, Jamie, we're moving on to something that has no Muppets in it.
None.
0 Muppets.
Not an animated Muppet at all.
If you were waiting for us to say we're going to do Muppets Take Manhattan,
That's not happening.
That's not happening. No. So what we're going to watch next is, if you listened a couple episodes ago when we did Flash Gordon, you may be aware that if you are a patron of the show and you're giving us $5, you get all the access to the, those bonus episodes and the unedited regular episodes that extend by another 10 to 15, sometimes 20 minutes of nonsense. In the case of this, probably. If you bump up that contribution to 15, you get to program an episode of this show. So once again, we have a listener, wonderful Michelle, who has been a patron for so long and has given us, I think this is the 3rd movie.
Thank you,
she's
Michelle.
given us. Yes. This one, do you have your copy? I have my copy.
I have
right
it. It's
here.
downstairs.
You have your
It's not
copy?
with me,
Okay.
though, yeah.
All right. This is the 2nd time for this podcast that we actually had to buy the movie because we could not find it.
Love that, though. Love
anywhere.
it. And it looks amazing. Alan Alda.
Right.
And
I don't know what this is. So it's called Sweet Liberty. We got, I'm just reading the names off the front. We got Alan Alda, Michael Caine in his first non-Patreon episode, and Michelle Pfeiffer. And so this shows up, or I'm looking at the tiny little, thumbnail in Amazon. And I'm like, oh, it's Alan Alda in a period piece. It looks like he's dressed for the Revolutionary War. Then it shows up and he's on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
and I realized by reading the back, it's not a period piece, but it's about the making of a period piece film.
I feel like it's going to be a lot of fun.
I've never heard of this. Have you even heard of this?
Not in my life.
Wow. Guys, this is, again, why you should become a patron, because you can open our eyes to movies that we probably would never ever program for the podcast.
And I'm so excited about
Otherwise,
this one.
I am too.
Yeah.
I can't wait. So that is going to be our next episode.
That's what's coming at you. Sweet Liberty. Sweet.
In 2 weeks. And also in 2 weeks, we're going to start to talk to you guys about what we're going to do for our 5th anniversary episode.
Yeah, that's right.
As longtime listeners know, normally the episode is chosen by listeners, or we give you options and then you vote on them. So we'll probably do something along those same lines, but we'll talk about that after we talk about Sweet Liberty. So
It's coming at you.
everybody, thanks for listening. We'll see you again in 2 weeks. but I'm hearing you on your computer.
How are you hearing me on my computer? You're on your own computer.
All right. Okay.